Got
Yeah.
it.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Off-Road with Frank Ferraro. And today we have Andrea Cataneo with us. Hi, Andrea.
Hello. So happy to be here again. Had so much fun with you last time. Thank you for asking me back. We
Oh,
have so much to share.
it's so funny because that was really one of the most popular interviews we had. At least for me in a while. We had thousands of views and people really, really liked the content and where it could be and where it can go. So I'm so glad that you came back. And for those of you who maybe didn't see it last time, Andrea is a partner in a law firm in New York City, Mitchell, Silberg, and Knupp. And they've been around quite a long time. And Andrea is
Since 1908.
yeah, quite a long time. That's over 100 years.
Mhm.
And Andrea is one of the partners there, and she's a fantastic deal maker. Been on Wall Street for years. I know her very, very dearly, and I'm really, really glad that she has time to share some of the things that she looks for in companies that want to enter the capital markets. Now, a lot of times people ask me, well, what kind of company is this? And what kind of companies enter the capital markets and why? And why would somebody want to do, certain things? And you know what? There's a reason for everything. And going from the road shows from year to years, seeing the different companies, we've seen so many companies come, prosper, and go right ahead. And we've seen
And
so many
some
companies
struggle.
haven't,
And
right?
some struggle. They're doing
And
it because they might
and
not know which way to go.
yeah. So what are some of the things that you look for when you want to get involved in a company, or a company has an idea and wants to get into the capital markets? What's some of the things that you look
So
for
great
success?
question. And, it really brings me to when should a company actually be looking for outside financing? And lots of times, if an idea person, a company that's early stage, thinks too quickly that they need to raise money, my guidance is usually prove out your business model first. And if with your own blood, sweat, and tears, your own few dollars, maybe some friends and family, prove that your business model works and get a good management team, or at least get some advisors that are willing to come on to assist you at the beginning. Because merely an idea, frankly, it's not the best time to go out there and pursue investors, because you might get taken advantage of. Someone might take your whole fabulous idea if you don't have it IP protected, if you or they might not want to waste their time with something that's so early stage. And honestly, that's usually the reason. Most investors, family offices, the capital markets world that Frank and I know so well, and really it's the microcap space that I think we, really gravitate towards, because these are companies that are, today's definition of microcap is $300 million revenues or below. For years, it was 75 million and below, but smallish company. So if it's super early stage, get your act together as a company and prove your business model. And then it's an appropriate time to start talking with some experts about what might you be doing. Now, one caveat to that is, if you haven't formed a company yet and you're not sure which type of company to form, consult an attorney about, should it be an LLC with an ultimate waterfall distribution on profits to members, or should it be a corporation that one day will sell stock? But don't put the cart before the horse and start thinking you should talk to investors right away, because as we know from experience, a lot of these even phenomenal investors that can be your partner long term, they don't have a super long attention span. So you want to be able to wow them with, a presentation and show that you have a proven business model. So that's kind of step one. And, you ask, what do I like to see? If there's a company that has that proven business model and has strong management, and let's face it, is connected with service providers that, maybe I've heard of, that have a good reputation, or when I read their bios, I see that, this company has attracted some people that know what they're doing.
Right.
That makes the whole company look more it makes it less of a risk, put it that way,
Sure.
more trustworthy to get into maybe a transaction with, because you want to have some, as a company, as an entrepreneur,
Well,
you want to have some people around you that have done it before. And go ahead, you were going to say something.
we'll take
Insightful.
that one step further. I mean, many people know me as, making markets in companies and filing 15C211s and initiating trading and whatnot. And, there are companies that would come to us at that time, and, they would wonder why the process is taking a year and not a month. And there's a big difference. Well, if you come to me with a registration statement and your lawyer, is and you're well represented, guess what? That goes really, really quick. If you
Sure.
come to me with unaudited financials and, a lot of questions aren't answered, it's going to take a while. I
Yeah,
mean,
for
it's a
sure.
process. It's going to take a while, so, you can only handle so many a day, as
Absolutely.
and you wish you had a way to just kind of get to the right ones, but you have to go through them all, so to speak, and and that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it
It
interesting,
definitely, it
I mean,
definitely makes it
that's
fun.
the fun part of the job, no
You
doubt.
did a beautiful fast forward to, a company that might have put a registration statement together already. So this would be a company that, it's a corporation. They have probably raised some capital before, maybe in a private placement, relying on exemptions from registration. And there are many. A company can rely on Reg A these days if they want to crowd fund, or Reg CF, or Regulation D.
I mean, I was always, I was
506 of
always, I was,
Regulation D.
I was always a fan of a Reg D offering.
Yeah,
Always a fan of a Reg D offering. However, I mean, and that's another thing. I mean, that's when the companies now really need to consult some pros, because that's where, you can raise some money, and if you do it with the right registration statement or the right entity, you can really be successful at it. And this is, this is something that I'm sure you share with your potential
sure.
clients every day.
Yeah. That reminds me of some really expensive mistakes that companies have made when they thought, I could do this. I've seen a private placement memorandum. I'm just going to go to, a few people and raise some money. And here I see a subscription agreement and some other, companies offering. Let me just copy a lot of that. And, the risk, I'll give you an example of, and I've seen it so many times, it's sad to say, where a company will have raised some money, used the money in whatever, growth objective they were seeking. And then one of the investors, 6 months, a year later, is really wishing they had their money back. Like, oh, I invested money in this company and all this great stuff was going to happen and it didn't. And my daughter's getting married. I wish I had that 100 grand back. And, here she goes and talks to a securities lawyer and they say, well, gosh, did they file a Form D? This company, it looks like it was relying on, Reg D of, Rule 506B of Regulation D of the Securities Act of 1933. And I'm looking on Edgar, it doesn't look like they filed a Form D.
Oh,
Maybe they didn't blue sky. Let me do a little further investigation. Where are you? You're in New Jersey. There was nothing filed in New Jersey. Well, you know what we have here? We've got a securities violation. And you, my investor friend, my client, you can ask for a rescission. What's a rescission? A rescission is like a backwards offering. It is a nightmare. It means that that investor can now demand that they not only get their money back, but that you as a company, as an issuer, we call you guys issuers because you're issuing stock to raise money. Don't mean to throw out too much vocabulary here, but you as the company now have to make a rescission offer to every single investor that came in because you violated securities laws and did not properly blue sky. You might not have thought that that could happen, but guess what? It could. And imagine if you've put the $500,000 that you've raised to use and you don't have it in your bank account. That could absolutely cripple you. It could bankrupt you. And it's so easy, seriously, to follow some of these rules if you consult someone who knows what to do. You don't have to go to the biggest law firm. Go to someone you trust. Give me a call if you can't afford someone that's been doing this almost 30 years. There are people out there, there are services out there that are more affordable just to get you on track so you don't make these grave errors that could so come back to bite you. And really diminish your chances of being able to have the successful business that otherwise you could have had.
Well, the one thing is that, and you know, I'm being in the business over 30 years, it's all about relying on those rules. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, if you're going to actually go out and sell stock to the public, you have to do it relying on certain rules, whether it be a 506, again, Reg A, 506, S1, whatever it is. I
Yeah.
mean, those are the rules. And that's the rules of playing the game. I mean, if you don't
Yes.
do it that way, it's kind of hard to play the game that way, you know? So
I love chatting
really
with you
important.
about these things because since I know you going on 30 years, I'm
Yeah,
serious, it's that long.
yeah,
Maybe it's 25, since 98, 99 for sure. It was that long ago.
yeah.
You made markets in over 1,000 stocks. I don't know how many. It's so maybe 2,000, a lot, huge
About
number.
1,000 over the years. Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing, truly amazing. I mean, I've probably done 200 capital markets transactions, give or take, taking companies public 7 or 8 different ways, from reverse mergers, de-SPAC, IPOs, dual listings. There are just a lot of it. The 15C to 11, how many, I mean, think of how many we did, private companies that wanted to, become trading. It's
I'll never forget. I was sitting there at Citadel Securities, and Mike Studer turned around and filed a 15C to 11 for the Nasdaq stock market. The
wow.
next day, I get a call, and the next thing you know, we're trading in Nasdaq stock market is NDAQ trading on the bulletin board. I mean,
You're incredible. And I knew you then.
this was bizarre, you know,
Yes.
and it turns out it was some pretty cool times. We did a lot of cool stuff back.
No doubt. No
And
doubt.
between the online trading and the ECNs and really watching the whole market kind of develop.
And it really is still available. It's a little bit complicated, and a company needs to know what to do. And what I just want to mention is, if you're a company, you want to sell stock, you pretty much have two broad choices. One is you register shares with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and you're going to need audited financial statements. It's expensive. We could go through all of that. But the other choice is you rely on an exemption from registration. And that's just to give you a little more meat on the bone of what we've been talking about. The exemptions are, Regulation A is a beautiful exemption from registration, and it's evolved, and we could talk about that for 8 episodes. I mean, about what's available to companies in terms of equity crowdfunding. Now, Regulation D, 506. I remember we used to do 504s a lot back in the day.
Yeah,
For a company to
I
raise $1 million
remember.
free trading shares, it was abused, unfortunately, and I don't see 504 being used much at all. But really know the broad categories of, you got to register, or you have to be able to rely on an exemption. And you talk to people in the business, talk to an attorney, talk to an accounting firm, start getting a feel for what might be best for you. And there's tons of good information available online. I'm happy to share too, some of the basics, so you can start deciding what makes the most sense. So I just wanted to kind of interrupt with that, because I want to be clear. I know our audience is probably made up of all levels of entrepreneurs, right? Early stage,
Absolutely,
people who have
absolutely.
brought 5 companies public, it could be, we want to make sure we're not alienating anyone in the audience.
I think we're pretty good. I think we're pretty. No doubt, no doubt.
You're
Um,
amazing. I
Thank you so
love I
much.
love catching up and talking about all of
And
these.
the same thing here. I mean, and the same thing here, you know what I mean? And a lot of people, I mean, we have like so many years of experience in doing this and working with different companies and deals and making things happen. I mean, just recently, this last deal, which is kind of cool, bring it up a little bit, but here's a company that came to me a couple of years ago, and you remember, Larry, Larry
Yes.
Rosen, right? He came to us a couple of years ago, and helped him out in the beginning a little bit, and all of a sudden came back, and now he's done a deal with Kathy Ireland. He's trading and got
Incredible
everything
businesswoman.
going, and it was really good to see the growth in companies, when they have it and when they're ready to come to the table prepared, and it really does happen, and it's a lot of fun, and we've seen over the years, we've seen this happen a lot. and like I said, that's kind of the cool thing, and that's what makes us come back,
Yes, yeah, and you see
Um,
someone like Larry who's been in business with public companies who, and remind us of his last name.
Larry Kozin. Hmm.
Larry Cozen. Now,
Hmm.
Larry Cozen has been featured on your show. He's incredible. And I
Absolutely.
remember
It's Main
years
Street, it
ago,
was actually Main Street Chamber Holdings. It's the
yeah,
symbol is MSCH.
it's
And
impressive.
like I said, it's kind of cool what we've been seeing and stuff like that. So it's nice to see what happened with him, and I look forward to him coming back on the show as well. And maybe perhaps going on yours.
Oh,
You
absolutely, absolutely.
right?
My Heart of
I mean, he'd
Influence
be
show.
great. We could ask him, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to have him on because it's all, we mentioned last time about how relationships really are the cornerstone of business development. And what better way to initiate a relationship than to have a shared experience? So we could be inviting people to this show. My show, Heart of Influence, that I'm the executive producer of or soon to be. I've been doing shows for about a year now. It's a really great opportunity to meet people that you might do business with, might refer business to, but it's in a really innovative game show environment. You came on the show once, more than, if not more
Yeah,
than once, you need to come on again.
twice.
But the feedback that I get after people had a chance to meet someone and hear, how them powerfully introduced, but then see them engage in a role play and be either a participant or a judge, and then learn something, and then see the pros in action, see Sean Callagy and Bella Verita, in action. You actually leave with some skills and tools. You met a few cool people, you had some fun, you learned some fun
Absolutely.
facts or some proud moments that you might not share generally when you meet someone at a conference or when you meet someone just on a quick intro email or phone call. So yeah, I would certainly love to, invite professionals who want to grow. And it's the service providers like us, Frank, who I believe can be so helpful to the community of companies that really want to grow. Granted, I'd love to have the companies themselves on because they're always so interesting, and I think we could be so helpful to them. But all of the accountants, the attorneys, the stock transfer agents,
These are
the
service
market
providers.
makers.
These are service providers that go,
Yes.
these really the unsung heroes behind all these companies. And you don't realize it, how important it is to having a good accounting team. You have to have your financials done at a certain time, and they want it, it's deadlines, it's a lot, and it's
What inspired you, Frank? How did you get into this business? Was it a person who, turned you
oh
on to
my
this world? I
gosh.
never knew
Oh,
how this
we're
really
we're
happened.
we're we're really gonna have to touch base on that in another episode, but in any event, and Andrea, it was great having you here
Always.
today. And yeah, next time we can talk about some of the different offerings that we've done for different people, some of the successes and whatnot. And I think a lot of people would love to hear about that, because we've worked with some pretty amazing people over the years. And so I think we should share some of those stories, and I think people will really like that. So,
Phenomenal. So
mm,
let me correct you. You left a syllable off of my surname. It's Mitchell Silberberg and Nup, also known as MSK.
oh,
My email is ajc@msk.com. Also on personal, it's Andrea_Cataneo@yahoo.com. And you see my cell phone number. I am textable and reachable.
why don't you what's your cell phone number for our podcast viewers?
Oh, very good. It's 973-202-3049. Here to serve, here to give more than I expect to receive in return. And guess what? I never regret it. I never regret it. I'm fully transparent. I do what I say I'm gonna do. And just like you do, Frank, this is why I've always been attracted to working with you. I know what I'm getting. I know I'm getting the real deal, someone who really cares. So thank you. Thank you for inviting me on
Thank
again.
you so
As
much.
as usual, it's fun.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we'll look forward to doing more of these.
Sounds good. See you next time. Appreciate
Take
it.
care.
All right, see you guys. Bye-bye.